Say no to straws. That's what more than 30 businesses have done here in Singapore this year. But experts say much more can and needs to be done to reduce our reliance on plastic. Gwyneth Teo with more.
Singapore uses 2.2 million straws every day. That's enough to fill an Olympic-sized pool in just half a year. And when it's used for only as long as it takes to gulp down a drink, it becomes a problem.
A piece of plastic can stay in the environment for 400 years, just for that 15 seconds of convenience.
Because of their small size and lightweight, they filter out of many recycling systems, and a lot of them therefore end up in the ocean.
In July, the Worldwide Fund for Nature set up the Plastic Action Initiative to get businesses to stop giving out plastic straws to customers. The impact has been immediate. For instance, one company, Better Barista, says it has saved over 23,000 straws in the past 5 months.
But it isn't just about getting rid of straws. WWF says it hopes to use the anti-straw campaign to engage companies and guide them in their efforts to become more sustainable. For instance, one mistake companies might make is to replace this piece of plastic with something just as bad.
For example, it's very easy for a company serving plastic straws to immediately switch to paper straws as an alternative. However, a paper straw might actually have a higher carbon footprint than a plastic straw because paper from trees is used to make that straw.
Biodegradable alternatives, such as plant-based materials like rice or corn, may not be ideal either.
In fact, biodegradable materials degrade under very specific conditions that are often not found in nature. So there is always an environmental cost used to create biodegradable materials or alternatives to plastics.
While straws may be low-hanging fruit, plastic used for food is far more widespread. What about cups, lids and bottles, or even the plastic bag that your takeaway comes in?
In terms of tonnage, in terms of volume, the biggest polluters there are actually the PET bottles and plastic bags. And Singapore has a very high usage of those two items as well. So an average Singaporean on average ends up using somewhere between 2 to 3 PET bottles per week and 2 to 4 plastic bags per supermarket shopping trip.
Salad Stop is one such business looking into cutting out more than just plastic straws. It redesigned its bag to a paper one instead, and also tried to discourage its usage by charging 10 cents per bag, with part of the proceeds going to WWF. While this saw a reduction of 60,000 bags this year, some customers weren't happy about the 10-cent charge.
The cashier was actually in a very awkward position because the customer would say, but I don't want to pay for the bag, I shouldn't be paying for the bag. And then the cashier says, then I can't give you a bag. And the customer says, yeah, but then how am I supposed to carry my food? And we had a few customers that just left their meals at the cashier and just left without paying.
So the company came up with a way to turn such nasty conversations into positive ones. They call it a borrow tree. Customers can borrow a bag to take their meal away and return it later. As the year went by, customers have even contributed their own bags from home.
It brought a lot of customers to engage with our team members as well, and for them to start creating this community feel of taking and sharing and always bringing back. And we did tag a few bags in August of this year, and we actually saw that one bag returned to us after 20 days, came back to another laboratory in another outlet that was further away. And so we were able to extend the life of the bag from a few hours to up to 20 days, so almost a whole month.
While it uses recycled plastic for its takeaway items, Salad Stop also wants to cut out plastic bottles for its juices in 2020.
These juices go through HPP to extend the shelf life, and because of the high pressure, we are unable to use any other form of plastics except for PT for the time being. So we were not able to find an alternative, so we thought the best next alternative is to move away from bottled drinks completely and just having drinks on tap.
And how would that work? I would bring my cup or bring my bottle. How would I be charged for that, for example?
So the taps would be close to the cashier, and customers would fill up their drinks and pay for the amount that was filled up.
But SMEs can only do so much. While some big businesses have also jumped on the anti-straw bandwagon, Mr. Joshi says they can also come together to lead the conversation with authorities to link up supply and disposal chains.
One thing that we have not fully addressed yet, even in Singapore, is what happens to a piece of plastics after use and after it is disposed of. In many places around the world, it could become pollution, it could be headed for the landfill, but what's more important is finding a way, with the help of businesses and government regulation, to recover these plastics and find an end-use market for it.
Until then, consumers can still continue to vote with their dollar and keep industries moving in a sustainable direction.